All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into James Clear's groundbreaking work, Atomic Habits. Our mission, as always, is to really extract the most powerful nuggets from this material for you, our listener. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding how to build good habits and, maybe finally, break those stubborn bad ones. When Clear talks about atomic habits, he uses atomic. Well, it refers to something both incredibly small and also a source of immense energy. And habits, well, those are the things we do daily, often without even thinking. So what we're exploring here is how these tiny, powerful actions, when they compound, can lead to truly immense, life-altering change.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because Clear really challenges our, common assumptions about success. He suggests it's far less about those grand, heroic gestures we often maybe idealize, and much more about the quiet, compounding effect of these small, consistent actions over time. It's subtle, but it's a really profound shift in perspective. It has massive implications.
Yes, exactly. And this material powerfully illustrates that cumulative effect with some just perfect examples. You know how going to the gym one day doesn't make you instantly in peak physical condition, right? You don't just wake up ready for a marathon.
Yeah.
But then one day, after consistent effort, you look in the mirror, or maybe you notice your energy levels and you realize, wow, I am healthy, or I am stronger. And the same goes for the opposite, doesn't it? Daily fast food doesn't make you unhealthy overnight.
No, not at all.
But then you look at old photos maybe, and the long-term impact is just undeniable. It's those consistent, often unnoticed daily actions that truly shape us.
Right. And this raises a really important point. We often completely overlook the long-term impact of seemingly insignificant daily actions. Connecting this to the bigger picture, Clear shows how results in so many areas of your life. Think about your bank balance, for instance. That depends on your saving habits. Your physical fitness, that's down to your eating and exercise habits, the knowledge you acquire, your study habits. It's truly just a reflection of what you do and what you repeat daily. Time isn't just passing by, it's actively shaping your destiny.
So what does this all mean for you? The material gives us this powerful thought exercise. Ask yourself, if I continue this specific action, good or bad, for the next 5 years, what's the cumulative effect going to be on me?
Yeah.
Seriously, think about that. The difference between consistently investing in yourself, maybe learning a new skill, saving a bit of income, versus spending solely on, say, immediate comfort. It can be absolutely staggering after 5 years. You could be in a vastly different place financially, personally, professionally.
Exactly. Good habits make time your ally, right? They amplify positive outcomes, often exponentially. Bad habits, on the other hand, turn time into an adversary. They silently erode your progress and lead to vastly different, often quite undesirable long-term results. The consistency of those small daily choices, well, that's the ultimate differentiator.
Okay, but if these tiny actions are so powerful, why do we often struggle so much to make them stick? Why is change so hard sometimes? The source suggests a fundamental misdirection here. We're often focusing on the wrong things, maybe just the end result, or we're approaching the whole process in a way that's just ineffective.
Indeed. And the material actually identifies 3 levels of change people typically attempt. First, there's outcome-based change. That's all about changing habits to get a desired result, like, losing 10 pounds. Second, there's process-based change. Here, you're more focused on enjoying the actions themselves, like finding joy in the workout routine. And then, crucially, there's identity-based change. This is about changing habits to become a certain type of person. And the key insight really is that true, lasting change comes from focusing on who you want to become.
Ah, okay. So give us an example of that.
Well, instead of saying, I want to read the newspaper daily, that's outcome or process focused, you shift your mindset to, I am a reader. And then you start acting like one. Maybe you just start by reading the headlines each day or discussing an article with someone. That internal belief starts to drive the external action.
That shift, focusing on the internal belief driving the external action, that's incredibly powerful. And what I found truly compelling in this material was the math. The math behind being just 1% better every day. It sounds tiny, 1%, but it compounds to being nearly 38 times better in a single year. That's over 3,700% growth. I mean, just imagine the dramatic impact that could have on your goals, learning a language, fitness, career, whatever it is. That's not just incremental, that's completely transformative.
It really is. And this concept encourages some critical thinking, doesn't it? Rather than just chasing a specific outcome like passing one exam. Consider the process of becoming a diligent student. The source advises, dividing your syllabus into small daily parts. Achieve those small daily goals consistently. And then just observe how that consistency makes achieving the larger objective not only easier, but far more sustainable long term. It shifts the focus. It's not one giant mountain anymore. It's a series of manageable hills you climb each day.
Okay, so we understand the power of small habits, the importance of identity. Let's turn to the how. How do we actually do this? Clint Carroll breaks it down into 4 incredibly simple yet really profound questions to guide your habit change. Think of them as your personal habit blueprint. How can I make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying?
Right. And these 4 laws really get at the fundamental psychology of habits. That's why they're so effective and practical. Let's break down each one for you.
Okay, first up, obvious. The material notes that often it's not that we lack motivation, it's that we lack clarity. Like Clear puts it, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Such a great line. So if you want to eat more healthily, a simple but really powerful strategy is just keep the tempting sweets out of sight if you don't see them.
You're far less likely to crave them. Exactly. It's about managing your cues, clarifying your why for habit, understanding what you might need to give up, identifying those tiny first steps, all that makes the path visible. Your environment literally shapes the cues you receive. So to build good habits, the source suggests actively shaping that environment. Find better cues. Spend more time with people or ideas that align with your goals.
Okay, number 2, make it attractive. The source really digs into what makes a habit feel desirable, something you want to do. It's not just about the end result, but making the process itself appealing. Maybe focus on a future benefit or link it to something you already enjoy. I think they call it temptation bundling, like only listening to your favorite podcast while you exercise.
Precisely. Pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
And speaking of influence, here's a powerful insight from the material, a real kicker. You are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. So, if you want good habits, actively seek out and surround yourself with people who already embody them. Their actions, their attitudes, they become attractive by association.
That highlights the profound impact of social influence, doesn't it? And if you want to break a bad habit, you can just reverse that logic. Focus on its negative long-term results. Make it unattractive. Truly seeing how wasted time kills your productivity or how bad habits lead to long-term distress and regret, that can significantly reduce your desire to engage in them. Make the consequences feel real.
Makes sense. Okay, 3rd law, make it easy. Our brains, well, they're wired to love the path of least resistance, right? The source emphasizes starting with incredibly small steps. Build consistency first. It's not about attempting 100 push-ups on day 1. If you're starting out, maybe it's just 5 every single day. Then gradually, you increase it as that initial habit solidifies. That small, achievable start makes it far less daunting.
Yes. And to combat procrastination, the 2-minute rule is such a gem from the source. The idea is if you think of doing something that takes less than 2 minutes, just start it immediately. Within 2 minutes, it stops your mind from getting distracted or talking you out of it. Simple, but effective. And to break bad habits, just make them difficult or even impossible, like deleting social media apps off your phone entirely to curb mindless scrolling. Make the bad choice harder than the good one.
Right, increase the friction. Okay, finally, number 4, make it satisfying. We inherently repeat what feels good, what gives us a reward. The source suggests starting with tasks that inherently bring some satisfaction and then finding ways to amplify that feeling. Like seeing yourself physically get fitter and more muscular from bodybuilding, that's a powerful, often immediate reward that reinforces the habit loop.
Absolutely. And speaking of that satisfaction, tracking your progress is key. Whether you use a habit tracker app, a simple notebook, or just mark off days on a calendar, it creates a visual reward. Seeing that chain of completed days, it's incredibly motivating, isn't it? It reinforces the habit loop visually. It makes the improvement zone feel tangible and encourages you to keep going, to not break the chain.
Yeah, that don't break the chain idea is powerful. Okay, so beyond these 4 laws, the material also dives into some other really insightful areas, like the importance of aligning your habits with your natural abilities and your interests. If you have 0 genuine interest in singing, for example, setting a goal to be a world-famous singer is probably setting yourself up for failure and a lot of frustration. Instead, the advice is to focus on what truly brings you joy, what feels like play, not work. That's where sustainable habits are really going to thrive.
And this connects directly to what's sometimes called the Goldilocks law for motivation. People are most motivated when tasks are just right, not too easy, because then you get bored but not too hard, because then you get discouraged. They need to match your current abilities. Finding that sweet spot keeps the effort engaging and sustainable. It prevents boredom, which the source rightly identifies as a major enemy of success. You need to stay challenged, but not overwhelmed.
That makes perfect sense. And for you listening, to truly understand how habits get built, the good ones and the bad ones, the source breaks it all down into a universal four-step loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. This is such a powerful mental model once you grasp it because it actually allows you to intervene at any stage.
Let's explore that quickly. The cue is the trigger, right? So for example, seeing a smoking poster or maybe just feeling stressed. The craving is the desire that arises from that cue, that feeling of wanting something. The response is the actual action you take, lighting up the cigarette or maybe scrolling social media when stressed. And the reward is the temporary pleasure or satisfaction you get from that action. Relief from stress, a dopamine hit, whatever it is. So to dismantle bad habits, you can strategically interrupt any of these stages.
How so?
Well, identify the cue. Maybe it's seeing your phone every time you're bored. You could move your phone out of sight during work hours. Manage the cue. If a craving still pops up, maybe you practice a mindfulness technique or reframe the craving. Or you substitute a healthier response. Instead of grabbing a snack when stressed, maybe you go for a quick walk. This way, you avoid the usual reward associated with the bad habit, and that weakens the loop over time. You're essentially rewiring the connection.
Okay, so let's put these principles into action for building a new habit, say like blogging regularly or starting bodybuilding. How would you apply the laws? The source suggests a really concrete approach. First, make your goals specific. Really quantify what success looks like daily. How many pages will you write? How many minutes will you exercise? A specific push-up count. Make it obvious what you need to do. Then make the process attractive. Maybe break it into smaller, enjoyable parts. Add music to your workout. Find ways to make the doing of it pleasant. Ensure it's easy, especially at the start. Use that 2-minute rule. Start with truly manageable steps that require minimal effort. Don't aim too high initially. And critically, make it satisfying. Track your progress. Notice yourself getting stronger, or see the blog posts accumulate. Find ways to reward yourself immediately for completing the habit. That provides the consistent motivation.
And to really help sustain these habits long term, the material strongly emphasizes the importance of fixing a specific time and place for your new habit. For instance, deciding, I will write my blog post at 7 a.m. in my study. Or, I will meditate for 5 minutes on the living room couch right after my morning coffee. This primes your brain. It makes the action almost automatic when you enter that specific context at that specific time. It puts you in the right mood and drastically reduces decision fatigue. You remove the need for constant willpower.
That's a great practical tip. And one final thought from the source that really resonated. The power of an accountability partner. Just sharing your goals with family or friends who genuinely want to see you succeed. It can provide both encouragement when you're doing well and maybe some gentle supportive pressure if you start slipping. Having someone who praises your good actions and maybe questions the bad ones can really help keep you on track.
Wow. Okay, what an illuminating deep dive today. We've really unpacked so much from Atomic Habits. The incredible power of just 1% improvement to the critical focus on identity over mere outcomes. And that practical framework of making habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Feels like the path to building the life you want really does start with these tiny atomic changes.
I think if we connect this back to the bigger picture, the message is incredibly clear. Your habits aren't just what you do. They are fundamentally who you become. The consistency of small, intentional actions that will always, always outweigh the sporadic intensity of some grand gesture. It's the silent daily work that truly transforms things in the long run. So for you listening right now, what's maybe one immediate takeaway you can apply? We'd encourage you to reflect on just one small habit you can make obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying this week. Just pick one and just see the magic unfold. Start small.
Yeah, and this leaves us with a really important question for you to ponder, maybe after this finishes. What small, consistent action could you begin today that, if you continued it for the next 5 years, would completely transform your life? What action could bring you true happiness, peace, and success down the line?
Think about it. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.